Hello, everybody. Am I muted? Or just everybody else? Okay, so this is the Objection Handler Mastermind. So we're going to be discussing some objections that you've been getting over the past week that you need help with.
Okay, I'm joining and I'm probably.
Hi, Betsy.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, hanging in there.
So as I was saying, this is a mastermind around the objections that we've been hearing over the past week, and then what we can help each other to get past those to convert at a higher rate.
I'm excited to hear what everybody's got to share.
So if y'all can, it'd be helpful if y'all could do y'all's video or at least audio so we could hear the objections or we could mastermind back and forth with each other. Does anybody have any objections over the past week?
I think the showing situation and how to show properties is still kind of something that's coming up. Like, how are we even going to get in them?
Yeah. So the first answer is we're not right away. And here's how I talk to them. I'll just explain it to them because I had somebody asking me that same thing. They were like, well, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to get in the house? And I said, we're not. This is how we do things now. Equate it back to something that they can kind of understand why things are changing, right? So I actually had one of my clients bring this up to me, and she was like, well, I guess it's kind of like how we're ordering food now because we're ordering from restaurants we've never gotten food from before.
Mm-hmm.
And we're ordering things off the menu and we're getting it. And we just kind of we go off what we see online, right? Now, I get it. A house is not food. I do understand that a house is a few $100,000 and food is going to be $50. So that is a big difference. But still, she's like, but we're just going off of it. It's kind of the new thing. So that's what we're doing. And I was like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that explanation with my other clients.
Now, what if a buyer just happened to show up and the seller let them in to see it? We're not there. We're not involved. We didn't. What would happen?
Well, if that organically happened without you saying, hey, you could just kind of pop by maybe, and if the seller would let you in, then okay, I guess that'd be fine. But if we are if we are coaching them to just happen to drop by, because they're not supposed to be out doing that anyways.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, there's no,
I like my license, people.
they're not supposed to be out doing that anyways. And let's say they get in trouble for it. They're like, well, my realtor told me I could just pop by, and if they let me in, they could let me in. That's not really a showing. Well, then we're in trouble.
Then we're in trouble. Yeah.
And you know that they would do that.
Oh yeah,
From
absolutely.
being in trouble themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
the showings.
I
just to-
don't have anything going on right now, but I will say, just hearing from other agents, I just had a conversation with an agent who is really struggling with a listing that she's just taking. And she is trying to explain to them that they're the ones that have to do the photos in the video and all of that. So now she's having a conversation around commission. So have you guys, has any of your sellers given you any pushback as far as commission because they're having to do the marketing end of the transaction?
They're not doing the marketing end of the transaction. They might be
Okay.
taking some pictures. You're still going to go have the photographer edit those, edit all of it, and then you're
Right.
still going to be the one marketing it.
Yeah, well, what she was saying is that this lady was giving her a little pushback because she said, well, usually, you're the one that has a photographer come in and a video done and all of this stuff. And now I'm having to do all this work for my own listing. So they're seeing it as they're doing more work on their end. So therefore, why should they pay full commission?
Mm-hmm. So, again, well, you can send photographers first off. Photographers can't go to the house. That's my first thing. The second thing is, I'm going to actually be doing more work, and I'm going to be paying the photographer more to edit your photos, so we can put together a slideshow, so we can put together the video walkthrough, and so we can get everything done the right way. And we're going to be marketing it out. We're actually doing more work now that it's virtual than we did whenever it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I thought that was a very interesting
So if
insight.
you want, I'll pay you $75 to take the pictures. Like, are your pictures photographer quality? And say, and that, I mean, if they're going to give pushback that hard on it, like, your pictures aren't photographer quality, we're going to have to highly edit them.
Yeah,
It's just, that's the way we have to do business right now.
right.
Yeah. So understand, yes, are we not sending out, well, we're sending out photographers, but if that's the case and the photographer's not going out and you have to get a video or pictures from them, it's actually going to take more time and more money to edit your photographs than it would if I just sent a photographer.
Right.
So can we talk about charging more commission so I can cover that cost?
I know I said 6%, but I'm thinking 7 instead.
Well, I mean, it won't get that far. The conversation won't go that far.
No.
But if they're ever saying like, well, we want to reduce it because you're doing this, just show them how actually you're doing more, and
Yeah.
you're not raising it.
Right.
But if you give them a plan and you give them a walkthrough and you let them know exactly how it's going to happen, most of the time they're not going to have that conversation. Every now and then you might.
Well, I think this particular agent, not with KW, she tends to put herself in a corner when she's doing her listing appointments.
Well, what you'll find though is it an agent in our office?
No.
Okay, so we probably need to help that agent anyways. But what you will find is a lot of agents who always have commission questions they always have commission questions because they don't articulate their value. So the only thing that the client sees is, well, I don't think this is worth 6%. I need to get it cheaper. The people who articulate their value properly don't get those questions.
This agent used to be with KW and now she went with EXP.
Yeah, so I can already tell you that agent doesn't know how to articulate their value, and they think that that money is value.
Mm-hmm.
and not them.
Right.
Because I don't get those questions. I haven't gotten those questions on the last few listings that have taken, and they've been during this.
Yeah, I haven't gotten those questions either, just because from the very beginning when I was talking to them, I said, you know, here's all the things that I'm going to do for you. So I put the value out immediately. So they knew that I had taken charge of the situation and they knew what they were going to get.
Yeah. What are some other objections y'all are hearing?
I have just like more of like a generic overall objection type question, I guess. Mine would be, I know like when you're dealing with objections, the best way you're gonna know and like tell your value and, you know, all of that is like in person and actually doing it. But what can you do outside of that to make yourself better at knowing where you stand, what you offer, like know when to butt in and, you know, like tear down the objection or, you know, overcome that? Like, what are things you can do outside of that that can, I guess, help you for when you're doing it in person?
Role play it.
Yeah.
Do like this right here. Listen to the other objections that people are hearing. Find out what the most common are. Role play those objections, and then figure out what the answer is going to be. Because most of the objections are going to be the same objections.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like buyers and sellers went to school to figure out what to say as an objection to you.
Yeah.
They all say the same things. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have the answers for it. Because an objection is not a no. It's not nope, I don't want to work with you. It's why should I work with you?
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll usually be like no because of this, right? And then what you do is you isolate the objection and then you overcome the objection. Okay, so I understand what you're saying is you think the commission should be less because you're doing some of the marketing for us. So other than that, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today? Nope, that's the only reason. I just don't think I should be paying you as much. Great. Can I discuss with you actually how we're spending more money and more time on getting your house sold because of COVID-19 than we were before? Like, then you just isolate, handle the objection, and then get the listing signed. Great. So you do understand that it's actually costing me more money to have you take the pictures. And I really appreciate you doing that, because you taking these pictures is going to help us get your house sold so you can move to South Dakota like you were wanting to on time. So whenever you're doing these things, just go through it and then say, so now do you understand exactly why we're going to ask you to take these pictures? Because we don't want to have to wait. We want to get this done for you now. Yep, understand. Great. So since you do understand, here's the listing agreement. And you go ahead and share it right here. Walk through it. This is the part you sign. And I'm going to get this, put me to work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What are some of the, so I know that was a general question. What are some of the objections though that you're wanting to learn how to handle?
Basically everything, all objection, just because I know I'm so new and like, I don't know, mostly now is the COVID is what, you know, like I'm not going to be able to see the house in person, which we've already been going over that for the last couple weeks, but just any and all objections is like, and I know it's like coming out to find the reason why, because there's like condition and then there's objection. If there's a condition you have to overcome first. And I was listening to a podcast on that and that made me think of it a new way. But just really knowing when to, I guess, just dig deeper. I guess for me is to ask more questions to find out their real reason why. And that's just for any objection, yeah. So
Exactly. And that's something that Mark's gonna be helping with a lot too in the coaching program. But if it's is seeing the house a condition or is it an objection?
it's an objection.
Yeah, it's an objection, right? Because you can just tell them, hey, so yeah, we've got in here the addendum in here, or the additional provisions. It says that we're going to be able to see the house and you're going to get to approve visually before you buy it. So yes, will we go under contract before you actually get in to see it? Yes. Will you have to close on it and buy it before you get to see it? No.
Can you go over, I think it was last week when you talked about the earnest money up front, or you're going to like the 10-day thing where you're doing the inspection, you're basically ready to close. Can you go over that again?
Yeah, so here's how I'm presenting it to my clients, right? Because I don't want to try and And I say this, I'm going to say this the way I think it, right? I don't want to try and skirt the rules and live in the gray area of, can we do a final walkthrough 2 days after we go under contract? Somebody who needs to be muted. Never mind, we're good now. So what I'm doing is, and I'm talking to my clients up front. I'm talking to the listing agent up front, and I'm saying, here's how we want to do this. I tell the clients, we're going to do the inspection the day after we're going to do our best to schedule the inspection the day after we go under contract. And then we're going to get the inspection back the next day, and we're going to have the resolution to them that day. So by the third day, we're going to have the resolution to them. And then we want to get an answer within 24 hours of that, objection, sorry. And then we want to get the resolution within 24 hours of that. And then we ask the seller to have all repairs done, as long as it's nothing major or something we got to carry on after closing or anything like that, within a week. That way we can do our final walkthrough within about a week to 10 days. The actual final walkthrough we can be done with. So if anything goes wrong, so they go see the house in 7 days and they've done the final walkthrough and they're like, you know what, just not happy with it. At least the seller's only out a week and you're only out a week, maybe 10 days. And they're only out inspection money. They're not out appraisal money, usually, if you can get it done that fast.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have an objection, just wondering, like, if a buyer or seller pulls up the one, should I just wait? Because I'm not in any hurry, really. Like, should I wait till this is all over?
Okay, say that again.
Should I wait until this is all over, till the COVID stuff is lifted? Would it be in my best interest to wait until people can come into my house, or should I just go ahead and list it now?
Why are you selling it?
Well, they want to upgrade.
Okay, so you want to upgrade selling the house. So here's, okay, if you want to upgrade, here's my suggestion. Put it on the market now. And here's why I say that. You mind if I explain?
Absolutely.
Okay, so put it on the market now, because price matters when you're selling more than when you're buying. So if prices are going to go down, we're expecting them to go down over the next few months. It hurts you more when you're selling than it does help you when you're buying. Interest rates matter more when you're buying. So it's kind of the perfect storm for you right now, because prices are actually still going up. So you can sell your house for the most money, and interest rates are still low. So you can buy at a lower interest rate. Whereas in 3 months, both of those markets are expected to swap. We're expecting sales prices to go down and interest rates to go up. Does that help explain it? And if anybody else has anything to add onto this, because Mark, Jorge, I know y'all do all this all the time. If y'all have another script that would be good for that, please tell us what it is.
I think what you said was great. We're really focusing on what the goals are, and if the market was going to be opposite, it might be the best suggestion to wait. But as Casey explains it, really we're just telling them the truth to the question that they asked. And then, maybe what I would add would be, what concerns would you have with putting it on the market? If there is any personal concerns, just so you're in touch with them personally on where their feelings are. And questions are so important to be able to give the right objection, because everybody's different. Every situation is different. And that's really where we got to focus, is just get to know really where they're coming from. They might say something, but mean something else, is really what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the flip side of it, let's say the prices have gone down a little bit in their area, because we are seeing some areas where prices are starting to go down. Well, then you want to sell it before they go down more. And plus, the market you sell in is the market you get to buy in. So that means prices are dropping on the other side and interest rates are still low.
That's the conversation I just had with my seller, is that I explained to him that if he does wait, I told him not to wait, but he said you'd rather wait? And I said, well, understand something, that if you wait, when I gave you the hose analogy, the hose with a clamp on it,
Yep.
and the clamp is the coronavirus. And once that clamp is gone, all the people that have been waiting are gonna flood into the market.
Yeah.
So what that's gonna cause is he's gonna take a hit on the sale of his house. Now the interest rates are gonna be low and other houses may go down. That's all fine and great, but he wants to pull as much money out of his house. You should do it now. And he still continued to say, you know, we're just gonna wait. And I said, okay. He goes, but as soon as this is lifted, we're out of there. Like, you know, we're gonna do it. And I said, all right.
Well, see, that does sound like more of a condition then. It's a condition for him that this has to be over before he's willing to do it.
Yeah,
That's not an objection anymore. So it's like
Right.
what Leah was talking about. It's a condition.
it was
So,
an
and it-
objection in the beginning, and then I handled it.
Yeah, no, it's a condition. Another thing is people always try to time the market. I just explained to them, I was like, if anybody knew how to time the market, we'd all be millionaires. Stock market, real estate market, doesn't matter what it is. If we knew how to time it perfectly, we'd all be millionaires. You cannot time it perfectly. And I always use the same scenario. I was like, here, I'm gonna share my screen again real quick. And who do we have on? Jacqueline. If yours is on, I want you to stop because we're going to time it because we want to buy a house at the right time whenever it's the lowest, right? So we're going to time the market. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down like the market is. You time it and tell me when to stop, okay? Because when I get to the very bottom, I want you to tell me, okay, to stop it.
Stop.
No, is that the bottom?
No.
No, it's not the bottom. That's what happens every time. Like you're gonna miss it. And then I show them like what really happens is if you're trying to time the top, okay, let's time the top. Somebody stop me when I get to the top. All right, nobody stopped me, but we'll just pretend they did. What really happens is it either drops fast or it rises fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're trying to time. You're like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. Oh, wait, is that the bottom? Is that the bottom? Nope. And then it did this. Because it's like the kinked hose, right? Everybody's waiting to buy. So the prices shoot back up because there's no inventory and a lot of buyers. Or they're waiting to sell whenever it gets to the top. And then what happens is everybody rushes in and then it drops because lots of sellers rushed in. Let me clear that off because this might get a little confusing with all of them. But you can't time it. And the change is so quick that you miss it every time.
Mhm.
So the real thing is sustained growth, right? Like, are you a day trader for investments, or do you get into a mutual fund where you expect big returns over time? I get into a mutual fund and expect returns over time. Same thing for my house. Do you want to buy it just at the lowest point possible, or do you want to be able to buy a house that you know is going to grow over time? How long do you plan on being in your house? That's another question I ask. The average is 10 years. There's never been a shift that lasted 10 years. You're going to come back out of it. You're going to make more money out of it. The only difference is you know how much your monthly payment is, and it's not going to go up over these next 10 years. What are some other objections you're hearing? And you might have to become more of the financial expert right now than you were before.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was just, call the lender, say how much the payment is. Great. Here's your payment. Yep. You know you can afford it. Let's go buy it. Like it's the numbers are a little bit more real right now, but you never want to tie it to only just the numbers. Because what was the first question that I asked you, Betsy, whenever you said, should we do it now?
Why wouldn't you? What is the reason?
Yeah.
Right?
Why are you selling? Right. Because
Okay.
because if you told me, well, we're just selling because, I mean, I don't even know what reason why you'd say no. Because if you actually have the motivation to sell, there's a reason you have the motivation to sell, then it's always a good time to do it. That's it. We're just going to sell because we're scared. Scared of what? Well, we don't know. Well, then that might not be the best, right? Because do you need to buy a house? Are you wanting to go do something? It might be the best advice to tell them, if you're not selling because you want to move up and you're just selling because you're scared of prices, then you can always wait, because the price drops aren't going to last forever. But if you really want to go get into a new house, then yeah, now's the time to sell it. So it's always about why, because the time to sell is always whenever they want to. There's no market where you shouldn't, if you really, really want to or have to. Now I'll give you an example of a time where you might not do it. Like me in 2008, mine cut in half. I owed 185 on the house. The value of the house dropped to 145. I didn't have to sell it because I could rent it. So I didn't. Came back around, it was worth money, and I made $60,000 off of it. There you go. What are some other objections? What are y'all hearing right now?
Well, one is, this is definitely a condition, but I have two buyers that they have to wait until they go back to work until they can actually get their approval fully approved.
So that is a condition. And I think it was Jorge who posted something the other day on Facebook about what can you do to get yourself ready to buy during COVID-19. Jorge, didn't you post that?
I don't think it was me, but for the most, it's just telling people to cut all that costs, all the subscriptions, everything that they don't have to do or deal with, so they're in a better position when the time comes around. And all I'm doing is just staying in touch. I'm not even talking real estate these days, but I got a listing just on that. One thing, go talk to your investors too. A lot of investors have houses for rent, and some of them are unloading. Some of them are not that solid or as big as other investors. And this guy, I haven't talked to him in a while, and just put that conversation out. And he's like, you know what? I have a lot that I was going to build a house for myself. Let's sell it. And he says, I asked him, do you want to sell it just as a land, or you want the whole thing out? He goes, I want to do it with the house. So now he's passing me, he's going to send me all the blueprints and stuff out so we can put it on the market. But he was just asking, and it came from the coach. Coach was like, hey, talk to your investors. A lot of them, even if not them, some friends that they know that want to sell because they're not sure what they're going to do, or they don't have the financial power to maintain. And you might pick one or two, and I did.
Yeah. So I knew I wasn't crazy. It was from Jorge's realtor page. I just pulled it up, and it says steps you can take to become a homeowner while in quarantine. So let's say they got to wait on their job, right? The number one thing that they can do, and it says on here is number 3. Well, number 1 is work on their credit, make it even better so they get a better interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, gather their 2 years current tax returns, make sure they're up to date. Number 3, pre-approval consult with the lender. That is very important, because not all lenders are counting these furloughs or whatever you want it to be. They're not counting it as time accrued for work, right? So make sure you find a lender that right when they go, say they're offered 3 months, right when they go back to work, they will approve them. Because it wasn't their fault they were out of work. It was because of a pandemic. So that's like the top thing they can do, is find a lender who says when you go back to work, you're approved. Day one. And then create a plan and a budget around it. Go ahead and, so here's the great thing about it. Let's say we're in this for 2 or 3 months. Please, dear Lord. 2 or 3 months. Please, dear Lord, don't let us be.
Don't put that in the universe.
So let's say we are, though. It's already been a month, right? So I know this is a question I always get. Well, I'm paying $1,000. I'm paying $1,000. I'm in a small apartment for $1,200 a month. My mortgage is going to be $2,000. Okay, go ahead and budget and do it like you're spending $2,000 on your mortgage. You get 2 months of practice at it right now. Now, what are they doing with that extra $800?
Saving it.
They're saving it. So we come out of this 2 or 3 months later, they got an extra $2,500 to do something with. And
that's where we're at personally, because our mortgage will go up like $2,300 once we close. So we're just paying ourselves, like if that's what we're paying now, just to put in savings for when it's time to close, we have more.
So you give your clients the same advice, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and now the client knows I can afford the mortgage.
Okay,
And
now
so
let's say that there's an objection for this one. What if they
Okay.
do that and they're getting scared because what if they can't afford it? Or what if they're really tight and it's not a lifestyle they want?
Okay. Can we look at less expensive houses?
Yeah.
Because that's something now where you're becoming a true fiduciary for that client. You're not just trying to push them into a house to get a closing.
Hmm.
I always tell them that it's a stepping stone house. So like you're starting somewhere, you don't have to stay there forever, but it's somewhere where you can, buy now and then increase your equity. And then down the road, you can upgrade. So
Yep.
it's just, it may not be exactly what you want right this very minute, but it's a stepping stone, especially if it's a first time home buyer.
It's going to be better than what they have, and it's going to build equity that they can cash out to put the down payment on one that's bigger and nicer next time. Because are you going to get equity out of an apartment that you're renting? So you're just going to be in the same boat in a couple of years whenever you actually want to get this other new house. So let's start you off on the path to homeownership now. And that's being a fiduciary in all ways. Like, yes, I know who's bought a car, who's had a car salesman show you how much money a month can you afford? We'll figure it out. Oh, you can. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So don't do that, right? So they're like, well, we can barely do it. Oh, great. You can barely do it. All right, let's close. It's like, well, you might want to reevaluate. You want to be house poor, or do you want a house that you can afford and still live your lifestyle? Neither one of those is the wrong answer. If somebody says I want to be house poor, I have no problem sitting at my house all the time as long as I have a great house, because I don't want to go talk to people and do anything anyways. That's fine. But you just got to figure out what's the motivation and what's the end outcome. Anything else? Jorge, you're hearing no objections. I love how Jorge, he's like, everybody just says yes.
I'm just staying in the floor, just talking to my people, saying hi and how's everything going, and ready for the next week, and ready for your homeschooling these days again, and another week of how to figure that out. But
That really is the most
staying in
powerful
touch.
call right now.
All I'm doing is just calling and staying in touch, and I'm here.
The care call and the value call is like the two calls right now that you're making those, you're helping people. Just how are you? How's everything going? What do you need?
Plus,
What
you were
can I-
there. It shows you were there too when the hard times were, or when,
Yeah.
like, I didn't forget about you. That's where I'm like making sure that I talk to everybody.
Is anybody else calling them right now to check on, see how they are?
Nope.
Who's calling you to ask you how you're doing?
Some friends, financial advisor did, family, neighbors. We just kind of wave and everybody stop and ask.
Yeah.
Are you seeing, Jorge, are you seeing the people that you ask, how they're doing and what's going on in their life? Are they checking back in with you and seeing how things are for you?
Yeah. And whether I want it or not, it comes, how's your work doing? How's real estate going?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll give them my story, tell them whatnot. If they have any questions, if they know, I'm also letting them know if they know of anybody who needs help on their financial part, I can set them up with a lender that can explain. It's a free consultation on how we can help them out and maybe get them out of the situation before it gets worse. There is help. I'm coming out as a, you're not alone, or even if it's not for
Right.
you, anybody that you know, send them over.
What's funny is everybody always wants to know what's going on with real estate,
They
but
ask
they
me
don't
back.
call you to ask. They do not call you to ask.
Yeah.
Now, unless you start that conversation, right? They feel, I don't know, it's just like a weird thing for people. They feel funny, like they don't want to bother you by asking you that, even though that's what we do.
I had a conversation with a coaching client last year, and the beginning of last year, she was talking about cleaning up data, getting rid of some of her T's and D's. And I asked her how much she communicates with them, and of course, a lot less. I asked her, well, what would be the harm in just contacting him and checking in and finding out what's going on. And what she found out in more calls than one was that, you know, we're going to be ready in a year, but we just don't want to bother you because we know how busy you are. I mean, you're a realtor, you're really busy, and people just think they don't want to bother you with those things. And it's because of the persona, I think. But once you open up that conversation or just show that you're in their life, it gives them the opportunity to be real and come into the area where you fit on that real estate side.
It's so funny because all the things that we tell ourselves about calling them is the same things they're telling themselves about calling us.
Don't want to hear from us, right? Yep.
They're
And
like,
it's
"I don't
also
wanna
like by
bother them, they're
default,
too
when
busy."
you ask them about their work or how they're doing, it comes back at you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 90% of the time. So how's real estate going? Well, I'm glad you asked.
Mhm.
Take it from
It's a
there.
natural condition, even when we talk about our kids, right? The conversation then circles back around to your kids or your personal life.
Family,
Your-
occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Yeah, that's it.
Those four things, when you talk about it, gets reciprocated right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how's your family? They go, oh, my family's great. And then they don't just stop right there. They say, how's your family? How's work going? Are you getting through COVID-19? Is it affecting you at all? And then they'll tell you, and then they'll ask how it's going for you. It's just a natural thing. And when you frame it as Ford, family, occupation, recreations, and dreams, you're not just isolating work saying, I want business from you. You're just talking about life.
Mm-hmm. And there's a good chance that you might have a resource or know something that might be a struggle or a pain in their life.
Yeah.
And then you fulfill that or hand them off to somebody that can fulfill that, they'll never forget it. You know, that personal connection of care is paramount to our society, to our civil society. And, you know, the people that say that they're all right, 9 times out of 10, they're not all right. They just, you know, they don't want to live it. But people do open up if you give them the opportunity.
And not only is it a good chance that you'll be able to help them out or you have a resource for them, make sure that you have a resource for them. So if they tell you what they have a problem with, go find a resource and get it to them. Email it, text it, call them, say, hey, look, you said this was something you have a problem with. This is the person that helps me with that. I'm going to have them give you a call. Is that all right?
It's fantastic.
No matter what it is. I mean, I equate it to like how we do our training calendar. Our training calendar is based off what you tell us you need. Like Jacqueline this morning said, this is what she needs. So we're going to make that happen. Do the same thing for your clients, no matter what it is, right? Homeschooling was a big issue with a lot of our people. They're like, I just don't know. Kids are driving me crazy. I don't know what to do with them. So what did we do? Lucas put a homeschooling panel of experts last Thursday to tell us what we can do with our kids. Are we homeschooling experts? No. You can find them though.
I feel less stressful this week than last week after those meetings.
Good. It's also helpful just to know that everybody else is struggling the same way. So even if we just put together a room of people that are all struggling with the same things, it's helpful to know that it's not just us.
We just like company.
Yeah. I love knowing that Betsy has trouble getting her kids to do schoolwork too. It's not just me. Any other objections you want to talk about? If you don't have enough objections, that means you're not doing enough lead generation. So you got to do a whole lot more lead generation this week so we can have more objections to talk about next week.
Boom.
Woohoo!
Because I'm getting lots of objections.
That's 20 already. But
Good
just
job.
stay with people. Stay with people. Just talk to people. It'll come around. But you
So are you
gotta
going to
be
go
there.
over that
Stay there.
Thursday at noon during your mastermind?
Yeah, I will. I didn't know,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll be there. I'll be
The
here.
one that you lead on Thursdays with the producers in the office.
Yeah.
I'd go over that
I'll do that.
again. I want you to
Mark,
go over
great to
that
see you, man.
every
It's
day.
great to see you too. I noticed something too, Jorge.
What do you got?
Are you standing up?
Standing up. Yeah, I just got like computers kind of Faced up,
So-
but yeah.
So we all know, right? So when you see Jorge on there, you see a guy who's got tons of energy, who's got his call list in front of him, and is doing his thing, and it's because he's seen it, he's heard it, and he's able to stay in that power position of communication
Mm-hmm.
because of how he feels inside. You know, he stays in that powerful place. You know, when we're in our chairs and we're leaning back and we're, you know, struggling to get through things, whatever that might be. We become that struggle. And not only have Jorge and I have known each other through real estate offices, but we've done transactions together too. And I can't tell you, it's great to do business with great real estate brokers. And,
Thank you.
you know, there's a bunch of other real estate brokers out there too that, you know, if you're in communication or you're showing or, you know, negotiating, it's good to know where they're at as well. Because, you know, just like when you go to the grocery store and the checkout lady smashes your bread, is it because she's a jerk or because, you know, one of the people closest to her just got diagnosed with the virus or something, you know? And so take into consideration, you know, what you get from people and how it's received, not as a identification of how you are, but how they occur to you is based on what's going on in their life. And we need to be that shining star, that bright light, that those people that are constantly just without an agenda, just being there for people. And if we can fill a need, as Casey said, we should do it. That's what our duty is to our society and to our people. And that spreads like wildfire.
And to say the least, just to be the shoulder or the ear to the story. A lot of people have stories or they're just a single person at their house going crazy and they're just waiting for somebody to talk to, even older folks or people that I've helped before, and they're just home and you make that call and you thought you're going to be maybe 2-3 minutes. It might take 10, 15, but I know you made a difference when you hang up.
Yeah.
Just listening and listening to the story or being a part of it.
Have you ever heard the saying, success leaves clues?
Somewhere.
Yeah. You know what that means? Does anybody know what that means? Success leaves clues.
It means it's duplicatable.
It's
evolves.
definitely duplicatable. There's clues. There are breadcrumbs that will lead you to what made that person successful, right? All you got to do is follow the model and follow the breadcrumbs. Like Jorge, are you successful because you're consistent, or are you consistent because you're successful?
It's the habit of being consistent. The habit is just stay with it.
It's both. If he wasn't successful at what he's consistent at, he wouldn't do it. And if he wasn't consistent with what he's successful at, he wouldn't be successful. Right? So you just got to be consistent. I can't tell you how many people ask me. I keep bringing up Jorge all the time because he has the most repeatable, most scalable model of anything and anything that we do, right? Of what we do. Everybody's asked, how does he do that? How does he do that? He does it.
It's just
That's
staying
the only
consistent,
answer.
staying
He's
with your
just
people.
consistent and he does it. And also success leaves clues. There's a clue. I know Leah and I don't talk that much about her business, but a clue of her success was left by what she said in the beginning of this call. I don't know if anybody picked up on it, but she started asking questions. She said something. I was like, how did she know that? Condition versus objection, right? And then she said, I heard it on a podcast. Well, Leah has been successful in the beginning of her career, and she knows it's from knowledge that she gained. This is what I'm getting. You can, if you agree with me, shake your head yes. If you don't agree with me, just don't respond. Because I don't want to know that.
I agree.
But so she's been successful, and she knows it's from what she's learned. So now she's seeking more knowledge, right? If these things work, she can stack the knowledge and be even more successful. So she's out looking for it. That's good. Success leaves clues, and being learning based is one of the clues of success. It's one of the 6 personal perspectives. It's one of the clues for success.
You know, garbage in, garbage out. Have you guys had an opportunity to spend time talking to the folks that are in the same exact situation we are, but it is dire and it is grim and it is, you know, it's overwhelming to them at the highest level. And this could be because they're at a high risk factor or they know somebody who has it. But if that is the thing that dominates your thinking all the time, it's really hard to think about anything in the line of having peace in inside, or being grateful for what you do have. And those are the folks that you want to be there for and console. And obviously you can't tell them that's, it is what it is, but you can be that difference in what they listen to and what they look at. And what podcasts do you like to listen to, Leah?
I don't remember. I have like 4 of them, but I can look it up. Let me see.
Because really, we should all start our day off with something that gives us some knowledge base to start from, and continue to feed our minds with those things that keep us in the direction we're going. Jorge could have been really consistent at the wrong things, and that would have affected his life as well. Jorge, what's your purpose? What's your purpose for getting up and going to work every day?
I got a 6-year-old, happily married, and I'm getting to the point that I need to worry how I'm getting income in my later days when I don't have to work. Or that's the idea, to eventually have passive income coming from multiple sources where everything's handled, everybody's happy, I got choices for my kid, and I still want to play then.
The podcast is called Your First Day in Real Estate with James Festini. That's one of them. I have like 4 of that. That one goes over some I thought was pretty valuable things at first, especially being so new.
I don't think there's anything bad as long as it connects with you and it discusses the things that will help you think differently or grow your thinking in the business that you want to grow. Grant Cardone is at a level that most people would never ever achieve, and he's got some great stuff out there, and yet it might not connect with everybody, but the people that it does connect with, it does change their lives. So there's so many things. I listen to Entre Leadership is one of the ones that I listen to, and some of the leadership coaches and stuff, and it's just a different level of mindset. I think that it starts the way that you go into a conversation or a situation, whether you're objection handling or you're just having a conversation with your kids, for example. If the stresses of the day come home to the family not good, not happy, right? We've all experienced that one time or another, and the more positive stuff that we can bring into this really trying and topsy-turvy time, the better we are. Like being on this call.
I had a friend of mine this week who said, if it's not positive, I don't have time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I was like, I don't have time for it. Here's what's funny is, it's not funny. It's a direct reflection of what he's doing. He's focusing on, he knows the negatives there. He's taking the precautions. He's doing what he has to do, and he's focusing on what he can do positive out of this. And he's like, I'm going to have my best April and May that I've ever had. Ever. How's that possible right now? He said, I'm going to make like $50,000, $60,000 in April, and I'm close to 70, 80 in May. That's possible because he said he's just going to focus on the positive. So now he's ramping up what he was doing before, which was already good. And then there's other people who are letting off because they don't want to deal with it because this is a hard time, right? So now he's benefiting from both sides of that.
Mindset.
Yep, mindset. So I took that to heart. If it's positive, I don't have time for it.
I started a new book, and if you guys haven't read it, you guys should definitely, but it's called There's No Plan B for Your A Game. Have you read it yet?
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
On my list there.
Not only did he play for the 49ers, so that's why I really like it, but
wait, who is it?
It's Bo Eason.
Niners.
Yeah, but it
sounded good till then.
No, it goes back to his backstory as a child and stuff, and it kind of touched home with me because, obviously my first priority are my kids, and I want to not only be the best mom, but it's I also am trying to go out and start this whole real estate career and do that while being a mom and being the best mom that I can be. And this talks about it, and it talks about personal, and this book has really touched where I'm at right now in my life. So it's a good book if it helps anyone else.
Yep, download it right now.
You know, it's always great to hear from the highest level of achievers that are like transparent with the things that really affected them, because you don't compete at the highest level of professional football, even if you can only make it to the 49ers. I'm just kidding. But you know, these guys have to be, you know, that the A game is the only way you get paid.
And that too is like, you see a lot of these successful people, and you know, like at least for me, and I know my husband's a lender, and you see his career start 3 years ago and where he's at now is like completely changed. And but it's just like you see these people who are successful and you follow them and you're like, man, I want to be that. And you just think that they just woke up one day and they're like, here I am, I'm the greatest. But what this talks about is the hard work that they were doing and the things that they were doing no one else was doing. It's not just like you wake up and you're famous one day, or you wake up and you're $1 million agent or whatever it is. That was cool to me, because a lot of times you get yourself on Instagram or wherever and you're comparing your life to these people or these successful people and you want it. And it's like, you kind of get stuck in a rut where you're like, well, I want it, but what do I have to do to get it? And then a lot of times people don't do that. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's gradually, then all of a sudden, right? So gradually they built it, and then all of a sudden it was all there. You brought up something though, because mentioning your husband reminded me of something. A year ago, your husband took Bold with us.
Yeah.
As a lender. Did that affect his business at all?
It did. He didn't finish it, which I thought that was kind of weird, but that's what he was going with. Like, he's one of the type that doesn't finish a lot of things. But I mean, he's really been working on things like his follow-up, and just seeing how his career grew just from, you know, being inside of it and seeing it grow is like kind of inspirational, like to me, to build my own thing too, and see that he started from like pushing back closings and like no one would want to, like just seeing me, I wouldn't want to get my mortgage from him when he first started. Now people reach out to him and they love him, you know. That just goes a long way. You just learn, and you learn hard, and he learned hard, and I just hope that I'm doing the best, because I don't want to like sacrifice a client in a bad situation just for a learning experience, you know. That's like my worst fears, is to do something that's not in the best interest, or that I could have coached a little bit better and it ended up affecting the client in a bad way, like how kind of he did. Like he was pushing back closings, or they had to bring in more money, and it was just kind of like a shit show at first. And I don't want that. I want to try and be the best knowledge person out there. Through and through, I'm giving everything, and at the end of the day, it's the client's choice, but I'm not putting them in a situation where it's, I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm doing the best that I can.
That mentality is going to serve you well, because you'll make sure that you do whatever it takes to get the knowledge to help your client.
Yeah.
That's going to be good for you.
Yeah, and the one thing that I would add to that is, don't beat yourself up, because none of us are perfect, and we don't all have perfect real estate deals. And just as they do in professional sports, you know, Monday after the game, they sit down and they recap and look at how the deal went, and they learn from their experience. And, you know, obviously those experiences aren't great all the time. So don't be afraid of making a mistake. Always seek advice. And, you know, the true gift is just going in there with the purpose of doing the best you can, and being okay with that. As long as you can say that you didn't do that. And, you know, my story is much like a lot of people. When I got into real estate, I met my future wife in real estate school, and we were great friends, and we dated and we got married, but we had the same vision and purpose, which was to raise our kids ourselves in a lifestyle that we can enjoy, to where we wouldn't miss anything, you know, with our kids. By the way, my favorite thing is field day, and it will remain field day for the rest of my life. I just don't get to go anymore until my kids have kids now. But that was really the true purpose why I got up and went to work every day. And guess what? I hadn't moved from E to P. I was very entrepreneurial, and I knew what I wanted. I just didn't put a great system behind it, for the purpose of keeping it alive for a long time. And that was in the sales thing. And so, you know, the real key is getting the idea that you can be successful in something, and then like you do, you're always reading and listening to things. You study your husband's business. It's such a good collaborative relationship when you can have a mortgage broker and a real estate broker in the same house. I think people like that, especially if your separation with your business is for the purposes of two professionals, which it sounds like that's the way it's driven. It's a gift to people. And so, enjoy that journey.
And have us also as a resource. Like, do you have a lot of us that can help out or answer, ask the question for sure. Stay
And
humble,
also, I ask this:
putting up the game.
who's going doing Bold Pivot in May?
I am.
So if you're not, you should. Number one. Number two, it's $99, and you get reimbursed that $99 out of your first closing that happens from Bold. So it's a free class.
Not only that, I always see it as an injection to the business.
It definitely is an
It gets
injection.
you out of your comfort zone. It's something else to play. It's something out of the ordinary day by day. And 2-3 months later, come about. It's like, wow, how cool! I did it. Can we do it again next month?
Yeah. It's so funny because
cool people are doing it.
Sorry, what's that?
Sounds like all the cool people are doing it.
Yep. If you want the link, it's either on the Facebook page or just ask Greg or Kara and they'll send it to you. But I think that's something that every one of us should be doing because there's plenty of time for it. It's like 2 days a week, 2 hours a day or something like, I don't remember exact details, but it's like 2 or 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. Every one of us is at home for those 2 hours. I know we are. So it'll give us a way to boost our business.
Is it going to be like over a Zoom?
It's
I
over
think
live
more.
stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's live stream.
Yeah.
It's going to be interactive though, more interactive than just a live stream where you're just watching it. It's going to be very interactive. It was going to be Zoom based, but that limited how many people could go to the class. So now it's over a live stream and there's going to be a lot more people in. It's going to be good though. You're going to get a lot of value out of it. Bold is usually $800. The fact that this is $99 and you're going to get just as much content out of it, it's going to be really helpful. Bold boosted my business unimaginably the first time I took it. And then even more the second time, the third time, fourth time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
I'm excited to take it.
Yeah. Me too.
Casey, do you know
Yes.
if this Bold will still come with scripts?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it will.
All right.
Yeah, they'll give us the scripts and there'll probably be some new scripts.
Okay. That's what I liked the most when I first took it. It gave me the words to say because it's like I was so new, I didn't know what to say to people, and it allows you to have some of the words for different situations. So that's what I loved about the scripts.
Yeah. All right, well, it's 2:00. I got to get on another Zoom.
Have fun. Thank you.
Yep. Hopefully we'll see y'all at 2:30 with JC going over the small business loans, EIDA, payroll protection plans, and unemployment. Like I said, these aren't the plan. They're just a resource in case we need them.
And we can pass them all to other people.
And you can pass it on to your clients. Yeah, you can explain it to them. You become the resource for them.
Yeah, I'll be doing that on Friday at 4 for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Happy Monday.
Talk to y'all later.
Great to see you,
Bye.
Mark.
See you at 2:30.
Everybody. Bye.